And in our vision of the future, we see a place where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. A future where no child has to grow up in poverty, where every senior can retire with dignity, and where every worker has the freedom to join a union.
Vice President and presumptive Democratic nominee Kamala Harris speaking here in Houston, Texas to a, let's just say, highly receptive crowd of public school teachers. As progressives across the country coalesce around her candidacy, Harris signaled her willingness to trade blows with Donald J. Trump.
In this moment, we are in a fight for our most fundamental freedoms. And to this room of leaders, I say, bring it on.
While some had hoped for an open convention and competitive process to replace Joe Biden atop the ticket, time and powerful forces have kicked that prospect to the curb.
We called to say Michelle and I couldn't be prouder to endorse you and to do everything we can to get you through this election and into the Oval Office.
Panel, as my dad used to say, I guess that settles that. So at this stage of the game, what do you make of the battle to come? And I'm starting with you, Marcus Davis. Get us going, man.
You know, this is a good thing, right? This is good for the Democratic Party. Finally, they did what needed to be done. This is a good thing for independents. This is a good thing for the undecided and the uninterested, because for weeks, months, if not the last year, there were many people who bemoaned this race because of the people that were in it. And so I think this is a good thing for the Dems. I think this is a good thing for America. Now the only thing we have to do is get the other party to come to their damn senses and do the same thing and replace their nominee, who is a threat to the United States of America and the democracy.
All right, Charles Blaine, we have a sitting vice president who was getting kind of C+, whether it was her fault or not, C+ grades for her role as vice president. What do you think of presidential candidate Kamala Harris?
Well, I mean, we have yet to see. She's just getting started, and so I think it'll be interesting to see what she says and what she does as she goes on. I know that she's had a boost initially in some of the polling, showing that she's performing a bit better than President Biden was. I'm curious to see if that holds in these coming weeks as she gets out there and more people hear. What is really interesting, though, is that she's going to be making her third, well, I guess 2 days in Houston this upcoming week, so kind of 3 days in Houston total this month. And it's interesting to see how Houston leaders are rallying around her, because I'm sure a lot of them are banking on, if she does win, opening an opportunity up for them to move into the administration or move into higher office. And so really curious to see how that interplay plays out in the coming months. And also curious to see, I mean, even with Judge Lena Hidalgo, we didn't see her with Vice President Harris last week when she was here. Curious to see if she's here this week. But it does seem like there's a lot of excitement from Democrats, much more excitement than there was for President Biden.
Tamara Bell, much has been said about the energy that has come with this decision by the sitting president to hand off the baton. Is it real?
It is absolutely real. The disenchantment and just disinterest that many young African Americans had and many people had was palpable. And they are now energized because she is in the fight. And since she is a member of the Divine Nine, AKA, to be specific, it is a battle that we're looking forward to. As when you talk about a challenge of which she's a prosecutor, what do you do for a living? You talk, you argue, you show other people up. That's how you get your air. So I look forward to debates. I look forward to them now, instead of saying, okay, I'm going to watch Leave It to Beaver. So now that, you know, we have the interest, this one will definitely grow more attention.
That last debate was Leave It to Beaver, though.
Hey, Bob, Charles made reference to polling that shows this is a very tight race. Is Kamala Harris a more formidable opponent for Donald Trump?
No, she's got a bump. There's a lot of excitement around the newness of this. She's doing great reading off the teleprompter. Let's see how she does on a debate stage. Let's see how she does in one-on-one interviews where she's proven in the past that she cannot do that job. You made mention that the Republican Party needs to do what the Democrat Party did. I would say the exact opposite. We ran a primaries election. We had candidates running for office, vetted each other, they had challenged each other, they earned the votes to be the nominee of this party. The Democrat Party refused to have a primary where it could have surface some of these issues that were coming out with Joe Biden and put up a viable candidate to run against him, but they chose not to do that. They drove off Robert Kennedy Jr. to go be an independent. And now you have the votes of 14 million people being thrown in the trash so that superdelegates and a handful of elites can handpick who the Democrat nominee is going to be for the party. That's just absurd. And then you look at her total lack of experience to do this job. Everything that she's been handed to do, she's failed at, whether it's the borders. Biden sent her to Ukraine, and 7 days later, Russia invades.
All right. Look, Paul was on our program last week and very correctly pointed out that in a nation of 300 million, less than 1 million voters in key battleground states will be deciding this election and who will be in the White House. Right. Paul, you stand by that, and how do you think those voters will view Kamala Harris?
Yeah, I think it might come down to Georgia and Pennsylvania, right? And so if you're looking at Georgia and Pennsylvania, just the fact that you're going to be able to energize and get out the vote in Georgia with a sizable black population, and I think that's definitely going to happen. Voter registration rolls are booming. In Pennsylvania, the Republican voter registration rolls are booming. You know, and so the question then becomes, and I think this is where it's going to get down to, is are you going to be able to take advantage of perhaps a Josh Shapiro as a VP candidate or Mark Kelly, who might be able to shore that up? But I definitely think that you're looking at just, again, 7 swing states. Whatever happens at the base, you know, in Houston, the fact that we turned out, you know, she turned out a whole bunch of people doesn't really mean anything compared to those voters.